Hello everyone, welcome back to HR Talks with Khaula, and I'm here yet again with another episode and a discussion on a very key topic as well. So, in my last video, I got a very good response. So, thank you to all my subscribers, and thank you to those people who commented honestly and straightforwardly about the kind of issues that they're facing at their workplace and how they kind of had an opposing opinion to what I was saying. And I hope that I really tried to answering all of you from a very neutral perspective as well and giving you a flavor of both sides. So, moving on from my last video, I got a comment where someone has requested me to make a video on sexual harassment. And to be honest, I have been thinking about this topic from some time, and I have always planned to take this topic in a broader sense. So, here I am. Today, we're going to discuss this sensitive yet very crucial topic of sexual harassment at workplace, and we're going to divide it into a few parts. So, first, we will look at some global realities in terms of numbers of sexual harassment cases reported and divided by gender as well. And then we'll move forward to give you some tips on how to safeguard and protect yourself from false sexual harassment claims. And then in the end, we will also discuss how HR can play a very proper role in keeping sure that the environment and the decision that is being made in sexual harassment cases is fair. So let's get started. Okay, now let's talk about the global reality of sexual harassment, and let's look at some numbers as well to understand the scale of this problem. Sexual harassment is faced by men and women both. According to a recent study done by International Labour Organization (ILO), around 30% of women globally have felt some sort of sexual harassment at their workplaces, and 17% of males have also felt that. But usually, male cases are quite underreported due to a stigma that men are usually grown up with a notion that they will not be seen as manly if they report about something like harassment, because usually it's something that is reported by females. Now, these numbers are not just numbers, but these are actually traumas that are felt and experienced by real people. Let's take a case as well. A global tech giant, Uber, has faced major backlash when one of its engineers, Susan, has posted a blog where she claims that Uber's culture is completely male dominated, and she faced sexual harassment from the initial days of her joining by her own managers. And while she reported this, documented this with proofs a lot of times to the HR department, they failed to pay any attention because they felt that the manager is a top performer, and they never had this kind of complaint about the manager. So these are minor incidents. And eventually, when she got tired of those complaints and nobody paying any attention, she actually posted a blog. Her blog was then taken quite seriously, and the Attorney General of that time actually conducted a full-blown investigation into Uber's practices, resulting in a major overhaul of the leadership team and many of the key leaders leaving the company, including co-founder Travis exiting the company as well. So it can be seen that some companies who are quite progressive on the surface have a lot going on in the inside in terms of harassment. How to protect yourself in these cases of sexual harassment. Tip number 1: always document everything. So if you're ever in a situation where you feel uncomfortable by a colleague or a supervisor in any sort of communication or any situation, always record everything: the verbal discussions, the emails, the dates, the witnesses, if there were any in the room, how many people were there, with time, everything. So I cannot put more emphasis on documentation, and maybe after a while it's that time or those discussions are not taking place anymore, and you don't personally feel the need to report it. Even then, if you ever want to report the case in future, you should have your documentation very tight and very intact. So according to a recent global study, 75% of cases are not being handled properly because the people who are reporting do not have enough documentation. So always document small details and all details in order to have a very strong case if indeed you want to report it in the future or in the coming times. Know your company's policies. Every company should and must have a sexual harassment policy, and it should have zero tolerance on harassment. But it is very important for you as an employee to know your right and also know how to report a case, how to report it properly, who to talk to, and what are the ways in which you can properly have a discussion around that case, because every company have different communication channels, and it's very important and crucial for you to have a clear knowledge about it. Some years ago, in around 2018, Google employees conducted a protest, a walkout, because of the way sexual claims were handled in the company. As a result, Google actually revised their policies and make sure that the reporting channels are more transparent and are more easier for employees and people who wants to complain. How to safeguard yourself from false claims. Although false claims are quite rare, but they are very damaging to a mental and physical state of someone who's going through it. So, here are a few tips for you to safeguard yourself from false sexual harassment claims. Tip number one: always maintain boundaries in any sort of interaction. So whether you're having casual conversations or you are having full blown meetings, always maintain healthy professional boundaries in any discussions with your colleagues at your workplace, because a simple discussion, a simple line which is not under a professional boundary can be misinterpreted. For example, a very high professional at a multinational organization was accused of harassment. Upon investigation, it came to light that a simple joke was misinterpreted. Now, while the joke was quite unintentional, but not keeping the professional boundaries actually bring both the employee and the colleague that he was talking to in a gray area. So maintaining those healthy boundaries and professional boundaries are very important for the protection and safeguard of both you and your colleagues, ensuring that both are safe from unintended consequences. Tip number two: seek the right legal help at the right time. So, if you're ever in the place of being falsely accused, always seek legal advice. No matter how calm and composed you are, you should actually consult the legal team for any right actions. So, to clear your name or to clear the claims that were put upon you wrongly can be done in a legal way from the start. How HR can ensure fairness. Tip number one: HR needs to conduct neutral investigations which are impartial. So, HR needs to have a very neutral approach no matter who the accused is and no matter who the victim is. HR needs to listen to both sides of the stories, both sides of the grievances, gather evidences on both sides, and then help the investigation. So, according to a Harvard Business Review study, it shows that when HR does neutral investigations, it gains more trust from the employees. So, HR should constantly create awareness around harassment policies, and the repercussions of doing that as well. So, if there are constant sessions, there are constant workshops, there are constant trainings for employees, and mandatory modules to clear with a quiz at the end as well, employees will be very well aware and will be consistently and constantly conditioned to know what their rights are, and how, if they ever plan on doing it, can result in very serious consequences on their careers. So it is HR's responsibility to not only create a policy and just distribute it or put it on their channel or anywhere for employees, but consistently educate the existing, the old, and the new employees as well on how serious the company is on these sexual harassment policies and cases, and what are their repercussions going to be, and how they can impact the employees. My final thoughts. Harassment is a serious issue and it requires care and responsibility from all sides. So, whether you are facing it or you are dealing with it as a false claim, it needs professionalism and awareness. And as HR, as mediator to any sort of investigation, we should always remain fair, neutral, and transparent to make sure that we pay our role to the full responsibility and requirement of it. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let's keep these conversations going. Till next time, I will see you. Bye bye on HR Talks with Khaula.